Good morning, Delaware. It is a beautiful early summer morning. It was just gorgeous driving in this morning.
Yes.
Sun shining, watching corn's at least knee high, and it's not even the 4th of July yet, so it's looking good.
There's one good thing.
Yep, I saw the soybeans had been planted in some of the other fields. It's kind of fun driving in on a summer morning.
And in the WDLR parking lot, I saw a bird and a rabbit playing together.
Oh,
it was.
It's like a Disney movie.
It was.
And it's not getting his ears blurred out by us.
Oh, yeah.
Good morning, Nicole. How are you doing?
Good morning. I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you. We got Gage Tellis at the board, and he's really running a lot because we've got Meyers LaBadie, the Deputy Director of the Library, on Skype to talk to us today. So it's a busy morning for Gage, too. So
Thank you, George.
So, what have you been reading lately, Nicole?
Well, actually, I have been taking the opportunity to listen to some music lately. I went on a little drive last night. I went to go visit a friend who was back in the country after she and her husband were missionaries in Bangladesh, and they left the country quickly of the country of Bangladesh to come back to USA before the borders were closed. And so she had been quarantined for 3 months, and so we got together. They'd been staying with their parents, and so we got together last night. And so I took a little drive and I listened to some music. And I was exploring on Hoopla, of course, our favorite go-to. Hoopla. What they've got in the music category. And wouldn't you know it, but they have a category of a whole bunch of albums that you can explore that's great for a summer road trip.
There you go.
Aren't you curious about some of the albums?
I am definitely curious, but I was just rocking along to Mungo Jerry a moment ago. So, yeah, go ahead.
Well, of course, if you like a little... So I have a friend. It's Miss Hannah. You had her on the show before.
Yes.
Hannah really likes to listen to country music, but only in the summertime. The country music feels good in the summertime for her. So they've got Jason Aldean's album 9. Mm-hmm. That's on there. Of course, I would really get into this one if you need a little guitar in your life, a little smooth voice. The American Standard by James Taylor.
That's a great album.
Mm-hmm.
I pre-ordered that and got it from Amazon as soon as it came out.
I love James Taylor.
I'm just a big fan of American Standards too, but his voice working with that was really good.
Yes. So we've got James Taylor with American Standard. If you need a little there's always that one good pop song of the summer. And so they recommend the album 5 Seconds of Summer Deluxe by 5 Seconds of Summer. So that's another one that's on there as well. But what road trip would it be if you didn't have a little family sing-along? And they have the ultimate album of family sing-alongs. It is 150 all-time favorite songs by VeggieTales.
Oh, jeez.
If you know, it's the singing tomato and the singing cucumber. And this is kind of amazing because it is on Hoopla. And as you know, on Hoopla, you only get a certain number of downloads in a month.
Right.
And so you don't want to waste them. And so this is one album that will only cost you one download, and it has 150 songs in it. I mean, that's pretty phenomenal.
But it's VeggieTales.
Well, there's also Raffi.
That would drive... Between the two of them, I would jump out of a moving car.
It grows on you.
Also, I don't have a 2-year-old to kind of mollify during a ride. So.
Yesterday, my 2-year-old Willow, she'll be 2 tomorrow. I think we might have some music that will be playing in her behalf later on. But my almost 2-year-old Willow, who will be 2 tomorrow, I put the Wiggles on, and she turned into a zombie. Like all of a sudden, my crazy Willow, who cannot be stopped, saw the Wiggles, and she was stopped.
I love that.
It was hilarious. Yeah, so it's a fun list. It's got really, like I said, everything from smooth, James Taylor to a little bit of country with James Aldean, some Kenny Chesney, Katy Perry, Teenage Dream. Of course, that was a summer album drop.
Good song.
Good song. So there is a lot of good stuff. So check out Hoopla if you're in the mood for some good music.
That sounds great. Thank you. Okay, Molly, what are you reading or listening to or grooving on right now?
Okay, so mine is one. Have you ever read a book that you felt like you should have loved?
Yes.
Yes.
I read one and I wasn't into it, and I I think it was just the time of year, so I still want to share it out to the world. It's a book called Ninth House by Lee Bardugo.
Oh, yes.
Yes, it's a horror book, sort of. It's suspense, thriller, fantasy, and the main character is a girl named Galaxy Stern. She's called Alex, for short. And the thing about her is she can see ghosts. Well, she has a really rough life, is in with a really rough crowd. When she survives sort of a friend's overdose and ends up getting a scholarship to Harvard to be in one of the 9 houses, which are, they actually have these 9 houses. You've probably heard of Skull and Bones and some of these secret society type things. So she gets brought into one called Lethe House, where she's supposed to watch everybody and keep an eye on all these other houses. Well, as it goes on, some shady things happen. Some stuff starts getting wrong. She starts talking to the ghost more and starts creating these deeper relationships. Ooh. It really does get pretty creepy. It gets really into that history of the houses at Harvard. Normally, this is the kind of thing that just pulls me right in. I think I really got drawn out on this one because it was just the wrong time of year for me. It's not a horror, and what was I thinking doing a horror book right now? So, I think it really was a great book. I think what I'm probably going to try to go back and reread it in October, to be honest, because all the pieces, and I guess when the author speaks at the end of the book, which I got on Overdrive, she talks about the fact all of the history on the houses, sort of their own land, almost all of that is real. You could pretty much use this to do a tour of it if you ever went to Harvard's campus, which now I really want to. So I think it's a really great book. It was the wrong time for me.
That's good to hear, because that's actually been a book that's been on my to-read list, and I actually have it checked out from Overdrive as well, Molly, but I only have 2 days left on it, and I know I'm not going to finish it.
October. It just, with everything going on, it just wasn't the right book, but I could tell it was a good book.
Yeah. Aww. It makes sense. Yeah. Countries for summer, scary books are for October. What do you got, George?
Well, I really love time travel novels.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so I was thumbing through Kindle the other day, and they had this special deal. The first book in a series for 99 cents. It's just like the way drug pushers work. First one's really cheap, and then they get you in at $12.99 each for the rest of the series. This one is going to be just like I did my first crack here. This book was published in 2013. There's already 11 books in the series. It's got a 3.88 rating out of 5 on Goodreads, and I should probably tell you the title. It's called, the first book in the series is called Just One Damn Thing After Another, and it's by Jodi Taylor. It's book 1 in the Chronicles of St. Mary's. Okay, so St. Mary's is a historical research institute with a twist. Their historians actually go back in time to witness the events that they're researching. And obviously that opens up all sorts of possibilities. Yeah. Our heroine is a woman named Madeline Maxwell, who had a really rough life, but she's overcome it. She's got incredible credentials, and she gets invited to apply to be a researcher at this institute that is very, very, very secretive, of course. She's something of a dumpster fire in her own life, personality-wise and everything, and bits of her personal history drip out throughout the story. It's set in the not-too-distant future. They're constantly talking about the Mars mission, which is about to come to fruition. So you can kind of think it's maybe 2030 in this book, maybe a little later. So the St. Mary's is fronted by this seemingly respectable mid-level UK college that supplies its funding and markets the reports. They do research on spec or on contract. So if people want to know more about, say, the assassination of Julius Caesar, they can go back there and actually watch it without getting involved and then come back and report on it. They have to be very careful about not leaving anything behind and not leaving any traces.
Well, of course.
But then they come back, and then this university markets whatever reports they come up with. But obviously, there's a lot more going on here than meets the eye. I just love a good time travel novel, but I also love a good comic novel, and this delivers on both. Max is a really complex, funny, and eventually sexy character. Her colleagues at St. Mary's are varied and very well drawn. But don't fall in love with any of them because Jodie Taylor has no compunction about killing them off. So it's a fun book. I'm looking forward to reading more in the series. The first one does not end with a cliffhanger, but it does say, kind of more to come. You can read it totally on its own. You don't have to feel like you've got to read the whole series. But I know I'm just going to jump into more of these because they're really good, and they are available through the library, so I don't have to buy them all through Kindle. So again, this first one is Just One Damn Thing After Another by Jodie Taylor, book 1 in the Chronicles of St. Mary's, and I recommend it highly. Now, when we come back, we are going to talk about our reopening plans for the Delaware Library next week and for the other libraries the following week with Molly and Nicole, so stay tuned. Geez, Bob, you got to do better than that on a weekend. Come on.
Yeah, I don't need any rain tomorrow. I got a birthday party.
That's right. I've heard that. That is so cool. I can't believe she's going to be 2. It doesn't seem like it could possibly be 2 years.
I know.
That's amazing. But I've seen pictures, and she's growing up. Yeah,
she's getting big.
Went from baby to toddler pretty quickly.
Oh yeah, attitude did too.
You were pregnant with her on my first day of work.
Oh, I did?
You did.
Wow. That's
First day.
Aw.
that's quite a way to start the job. Yeah.
Hi, nice to meet you. I'm pregnant. I'll be gone in 6 months. Goodbye. Love me while I'm here.
Could you do this radio show while I'm gone?
Yeah.
Mhm, yep. So anyway, we wanted to talk today about what it's going to be like when the Delaware Library reopens on Monday, and then when the Orange and Powell Libraries reopen on July 6th and Ostrander reopens on July 7th. Mm-hmm. So the library is going to be a little different when you come in. So let's talk about what that's going to be like. For one thing, we're going to have still keep a couple of reserved spaces in front of the library for curbside pickup. Mm-hmm. This has proven very popular, and we're not going to cut that out because if you've got 2 kids in the car and you don't want to be unbuckling them and bringing them in, and you don't want to mess with them touching anything, we can still bring your books out to your car, put them in your hatch, put them in your back seat. However you want us to do it, we can manage that for you. So
I have heard pleas from the public that say, keep this forever. I mean, honestly, with our Orange Branch Library being the only one with a drive-up window, this is such a convenience for every parent and every human who just is like, just bring me my stuff.
And the new Powell Library is going to have a drive-through window. That was one of the things. I don't know that we mentioned that on last week's show, but that is in the plans right now.
Yeah.
We may also be looking at other ways we can deliver books with no-touch service, but this is going to take a little more time in the future. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you're going to come in the library. What's going to look different, Molly? What are some of the things that people are either going to see or that they're not going to see that they're used to?
Well, the first thing you're going to see is a lot of plexiglass up. We have plexiglass in all of our public service points so that you're still able to interact with our staff, but have that safety barrier sort of between everybody. Mm-hmm. So you're still going to see the smiling faces behind it. You're just going to have a little see-through shield before you get there. The other thing you're going to really see is we have removed the chairs from the library. Mm-hmm. This is because we're really calling this a walk-through library, George, right, which means you're able to come in, get the things you need, and walk on out. Mm-hmm. Again, though, you're still going to see the smiling faces. You're still going to have people who are going to help you find what you're looking for. You're actually going to see even more displays. So some of those tables that are left, we're putting displays of the things you want and the things that you can get quickly on all of those.
Yes.
Right.
So you're going to be able to find even easier the things you want. I know we're going to have a lot of kits for kids. So if your kid loves dinosaur kits, princess kits, there are going to be things for adults, the mystery kits, the horror kits. We're going to have just a lot of things that you can walk in, see what you want, and be able to head on out of there.
Right.
I'm pretty excited.
I will point out one thing. You will not see their smiling faces because everybody on staff is going to be wearing masks.
Oh, yeah. That's a good point.
They'll have to smile with their eyes, but yes.
Yes. You're right, George. All of us will have masks on at the library to help protect all of our patrons, but their eyes will be smiling behind them.
You bet. So people... one of the things that people use the library a lot for is the computers, and we are going to have to limit the computer hours.
Right.
So the library, yes, all the computers will be available to the public in each library from 1 to 5. Mm-hmm. 1 p.m.
Correct.
to 5 p.m. So that's a lot different than we had been doing it. And you're going to have to make an advance reservation to use the computer. You'll have a 50-minute block, one use per day per 150-minute session. So you'll just go to our website or call us. We'll make your reservation. You got to be there within 10 minutes or we'll cancel your reservation. But we are cleaning the computers, but the reason you have a 50-minute use is because that 10 minutes between them is what we'll be using to wipe them down and make sure that they're clean for the next person. So we'll wipe down the keyboard, we'll wipe down the mouse, wipe off the counter. So to make sure that we're being as safe as possible as people turn those over.
Right.
Also, you won't have people standing behind you telling you how to do things or holding the mouse while you're working.
Don't tell me what to do.
No, what we usually get is, tell me what to do. But what we're going to be doing is we're using a new system from the folks who do GoToMeeting called GoToAssist. And from the computer desk, the people will be able to share your screen and walk through with you if it's a resume or a FEMA application or unemployment application to help you if you have any questions about how to fill the thing out. But they won't be like we traditionally just stand right next to you and work with you at the computer. We can't do that with the current situation. But we're not leaving you out on a
High and dry.
drift. Yeah,
No
we're not
way.
doing that. So, but again, 1 to 5 every day, each library. Just call and make your reservation, and we'll take it from there.
Right. And I would recommend if you want to bring your own ear pods, your own, headphones or
Yes.
anything like that, that's a great idea. If you want to bring your own flash drive, that's a great idea. If you don't have those, we will have them for you, but we would love if you brought your own. And then, of course, printing is something that people have had questions about even while we've been closed. And there is the ability, I don't know if a lot of folks knew that, but if you go to DelawareLibrary.org/print, we have a way that you can actually send your documents remotely and then just kind of pick them up at the library. Just get them printed with no touch.
And what we're doing is the first 25 pages you need printed, we're doing for free.
That's
We're
right.
not going to even mess with coins or anything like that. We want to make it as simple and as touch-free as possible. If you're doing a longer document, we'll have to work something out because we don't have unlimited funds, especially with the the drop in the public library fund. We don't have unlimited funds, so
Right.
we never did, but we're really more limited right now. So we will ask you to send those ahead, and we'll make it really easy for you to get them. You can also still, if you haven't filed your taxes yet, we still have tax forms at the library. We can also print out the federal tax forms if there's something you need. So just, again, let us know what you need, and we can do that.
And if you're not comfortable with the airport, don't forget to give us a call because we're going to be able to help you with your individual need. We'll talk you through how's going to be the best way for us to help you get those print jobs.
Right.
And by airport, she's not referring to John Glenn International. She's referring to the software we use to actually print the materials.
George, I was going to make the same joke. I think you're rubbing off on me. Yeah.
I'm a bad influence. I'm sorry. But also, when you come to pick up your holds, traditionally at Delaware, you've just gone into that corner where we have all the holds. That's not going to work that way anymore because that's always been kind of a choke point for people. So we'll have people who will be able, you come in and you say, my name is Needham. They'll go pull the books off the shelf and hand them to you, and then you can check them out. We're trying, again, to keep people from congregating. The idea is to turn things over quickly. And just if there's any tutors listening, we are not open for tutoring once we start again.
No.
We don't want people taking up residence at the library all day. As much as we've loved that in the past, that's not what the new normal is going to be for a while. I used to say when I was consulting that we would think of the library in the old days as a supermarket where you'd come in and get your stuff and leave, but we wanted to become more like a community kitchen where people would bring their own ingredients together and make something new. For the time being, we're back to being a supermarket.
Right.
We really can't. We can't have people loitering in the library. So we're going to have to make sure that we're turning things over more quickly, and people come in, get their stuff, and take off. So
There's something fun.
The reasons for that is actually because we have a number that's allowed in the building.
Yeah.
So
Right.
we're limited to how many people can be in the building at one. And we want to make sure everybody's able to come in and grab things and not have to wait a long time to get into the building itself.
right. So we're basing this on square footage in the building and how many people we can allow in at any given time. We're pretty sure that we're not going to hit that number at Orange or at Delaware. Ostrander and Powell's a little more tricky because there's so much smaller buildings. We do have counters in the building that will let us know how many people are in the building at any given time, and we'll be monitoring that to make sure that we're turning people around pretty quickly.
Yeah, and the only thing that you'll hear as a patron within the building is, that maybe we're at capacity, or maybe we'll have someone kind of standing at the door saying, we're at capacity for the moment. If you can just, please wait here momentarily, then we'll be able to let you in when the next patron leaves. So it'll be pretty fluid.
And we are really, really strongly encouraging people who come to the library to wear masks.
Yeah.
It saves everybody, and it's just a community sort of thing. I mean, the library is the perfect example of how a community comes together to share ideas and share materials. But in order to share, we need to be cognizant of the needs of other people. So wearing a mask is just a way of helping, showing that you care about other people as well as yourself.
Mm-hmm. And all of our staff will be wearing them.
You sure? And what a variety of masks.
Join the club. They're fun.
I was listening to Pam talk about her Columbus Blue Jackets mask, and I was really jealous.
Right.
So
people say that mine is pretty Disney. It's colorful with stars and little sparkles and birds.
And Joyce made me a Charlie Brown one, which is pretty fun too.
Cat one of the waving cat. Like you'll see in a Chinese restaurant, all over the mask. It's beautiful.
Okay.
And fun fact, there is a waving cat museum in Cincinnati, Ohio.
Oh, dear.
I knew Molly would be able to tie in one of her trips on this one. Okay, we do have a few events coming on in the library this week.
Yes.
We have a nice joint project with the Arts Castle on Tuesday, which is clay crafts with the Arts Castle.
Say that 4 times fast.
No, thank you. This is with the Arts Castle folks. You'll learn how to make paper clay at home, and then you have 2 ideas of what to create with it. So it should be a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. And we've got a virtual story hour. We're coming up with Miss Harla on Wednesday at 10 o'clock.
Yes, and I am going to give a particular shout out to, I believe it is Miss Harla's son-in-law. He has been helping her edit some book talk videos that we've been featuring on our Facebook page, and he has amazing video skills. He's taken just an image and animated it. So keep your eye open for some of the book talks on our Facebook page from Miss Harla, and special shout out to her son-in-law.
Thank you. Yes, that's cool. And then on Thursday, we've got one of our really good practical programs coming from our Maker Annex, and that is cutting out cable. Mm-hmm. Save money by getting rid of your cable subscriptions while still be engaging with your favorite shows.
Yes, and I think that it's good to mention that all of these programs are happening kind of in conjunction with our summer reading club.
Exactly.
And as our branches reopen, guess what's coming, George?
What's coming?
Prizes!
Actually, I gave the first set of 6-hour books on Wednesday when I was doing curbside service.
Wonderful.
A parent came up and she had her 3 kids had all read their 6 hours. Actually, she'd read her 6 hours too, and I couldn't find the mug, so she was going to come back the next time to get those. So.
Perfect. Perfect.
But she got her books and with the notebooks. The notebooks with the coupons in them, and they were all very pleased.
Yeah. So as our branches reopen, that's another thing that you'll see you'll get, if you're coming in for your 6-hour prize, it's a choice between either a unicorn or a alchemy-based notebook, and you can choose one of those 2 designs. But when you come in for your 12-hour prize, you get to pick out your own book, and so we have displays set up for those. So when you say, I'm here to get my 12-hour prize, we'll just say, walk right over there and give it a choice.
I do want to mention one other thing for the Friends of the Library. We're still not ready to take donations because the rooms where we store those donations are full of returns right now, and our personal protective equipment and disinfectant and stuff like that. So we're hoping to be able to start taking donations again soon, but for right now, we just can't take them. We just don't have room for them. So hang on to them. Or you might consider donating them to Goodwill if you really need the space, or you might consider taking them to half-price books, whatever works for you, but we just can't take on donations right at this moment. So we really appreciate your generosity, but we just can't handle it at the moment. So on the other hand, the Friends of the Library are still cooking up a really cool plan for, actually 2 of them, one for downtown and one at Orange. So some cool things are coming. So anyway, so thank you very much for being here, Molly. Appreciate your time.
Always happy to.
Great. And sometime we'll have you back on when we can just talk about weird Ohio places to visit again.
You know I love to do that.
I know. And I know you have an endless reservoir of those places for us to talk about. So.
I really do. Staying in is really hard right now because tis the season for me.
Yeah.
So
Well, thanks again, Molly. Thank you, Gage, for everything and making the technology work. You have something?
Absolutely. And Nicole, did you want to do a shout out before we wrap up the show?
Yes.
Good.
So as you've heard me say like 5 times now, Willow's birthday is tomorrow. She turns 2, and part of the things that inspired us to name her Willow, aside from it being an awesome name, is as we were thinking about it, we were spoken to by a Paul McCartney song called Little Willow, and we're gonna play a little bit of it.
It's gonna blow you hot and cold tonight.
She's getting all verklempt, yes.
So that's my little Willow shout out.
Oh.
But listen to it; it's a beautiful song.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Willow, and
happy birthday.
and happy reopening on Monday. So I can actually say it again. We will see you in the stacks.